Hey everyone, this is Vikram Baliga. I'm the Lubbock County Horticulture Agent with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. This is my completely unhelpful helper, Rusty. Since we're getting towards winter and people are going to start looking at their trees and thinking about pruning and removing limbs and maybe removing dead trees as a whole, I thought I'd take the last, or one of the last warm days we're likely to have this December, and make a short video about proper ways to prune trees, what to do with them when they die, safety and all of that. Thanks for watching, and I hope you get something out of this.
Okay everyone, first I'm going to start off by talking about some of the equipment you'll need to complete your project. First and foremost, if you have a small to medium-sized Staffordshire Terrier, she won't help you at all, but she'll look cute and be comic relief. But for actually doing the tree pruning, you definitely need to start with proper protective equipment. I'm wearing jeans and boots with reinforced toe, a long sleeve shirt that is also flannel, because I think you are required by law to wear a flannel shirt if you're doing tree work or pretending to be a lumberjack. Also a good pair of leather gloves, safety glasses, and a helmet will be essential to keeping you safe. I like this helmet because it has combined just a hard hat, a face screen, and hearing protection, so it kind of has everything in one. As far as the actual tools I'll be using, I'm probably going to stick with this chainsaw today. Now, this is not a huge chainsaw, but for residential and domestic use, it's plenty big and plenty powerful. It is a 2-cycle engine, gas-powered, and it'll definitely do the job. You could also use hand tools like this fast-cut saw. It has a lot of teeth per inch, and it's very sharp, so that'll do a good job. You could also use an axe or a hatchet, but that's a lot of extra work, and if you're not careful, you could do a lot of damage to yourself using a tool like that. Another thing that's optional, not necessary, I guess, but it's definitely good to have if you're running a chainsaw, is a pair of chainsaw chaps. Now these are reinforced and they have fibers on the inside, and they're designed to bind up a chainsaw blade if they make contact. Now they may not completely keep you from getting hurt, but it'll keep the chainsaw from doing a lot of damage to your legs if for whatever reason you manage to come into contact with that spinning chain. Again, chainsaws cut through trees. They are dangerous tools, and you definitely want to make sure you have the right equipment. Also, there is no protective equipment as good as common sense and situational awareness.
Okay, let's get down to pruning. First, we're going to talk about the proper pruning cuts to use when you prune a tree. Now, this tree I'm working on is actually a silver maple that died a couple of years ago. So, as we go through this, don't think I'm just hacking up a live tree. It's one that needs to come out, and we'll actually be taking it out on this video. But there's a couple of things that I can demonstrate pretty well on this. Now, you have to understand that the wood and the bark on your limbs is also connected to the trunk. So this is not a particularly large limb. It's maybe 2 inches in diameter, probably just a little bit less. But if you were to just come out here and start a little ways out and start cutting a limb, okay, there's a lot of weight going out this way. And as you cut through it, if there's too much weight and the tree's still alive especially, you'll get bark tearing all the way down as this limb drops. Bark will tear all the way down and cause a lot of damage to your trunk. So what you want to use is a 3-cut pruning method as you prune trees, and I'm going to demonstrate that now. For the purpose of this, so you can hear me talking, I'm going to use this hand saw, but when we get into actually doing more of the heavy removal, I'll be switching over to the chainsaw. So the first thing you want to do is come about 8 inches from the trunk and make an upcut. Now, I'm just going to take my saw and go about 20 to 25% of the way through the limb. Okay, what that's going to do is cut this connecting bark down here. And so as I come out and start to remove the limb, even if it's heavy and even if it breaks, that tear will stop right here, and it'll keep you from causing a lot more damage to your tree overall. So the second cut, the step 2 of this 3-cut pruning method, is I'm going to come out just a couple more inches and start down through the top of the limb. As I go, you'll start to see, and this limb is dead and it's not as heavy as it could be, but you'll start to see that it starts to sag. But I'm just going to come out and go ahead and cut all the way down through the limb. Now, what I've done before this is made sure that there's nothing under this branch, so when it drops, you don't want it to fall on a dog or a house or a kid or anything else that you don't want destroyed by a big heavy branch. So it's clear on the other side of this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut through, and you see how there's still connected tissue right here. If this had been a heavier limb or more alive, it would have continued to rip down and all the way down. But you can see right here, my upcut stopped that tear, and so it didn't cause further damage to the tree. The third thing you're gonna do in your final cut is you're gonna come and remove this stump. I'm gonna show you some pictures here in just a second and actually get a little more close up of what a branch collar ridge looks like. You wanna make sure that you're cutting outside the branch bark ridge. You'll see a little ridge on the bottom of a branch and another little ridge on the top. That is where most of the rapid growth happens in a plant, in the tree branch. So if you were to cut straight through that and flush cut like they used to do on trees, it takes a lot longer to heal over that damage. So you want to make sure and come just outside of that branch collar and cut all the way down and remove your stump. One of the reasons you don't want to keep the stump is it can decay over time, and it's a source of disease and insects, and it's just an open court and cause more damage to the tree. So here you can see I've removed my stump, and I'm gonna come grab the camera, which is an adventure with these handy leather gloves on, and I'm gonna show you what a branch collar looks like. Now, I probably could have cut a little bit closer even than I did. You can see right here, that's kind of the bottom of your branch collar, and right up here, this little ridge is the top. This ridge here is the top. So you wanna make sure you're cutting outside of that. Again, if you were to come and flush cut and cut right up against the trunk of this tree, you create a large wound and it causes a lot of damage, and it takes the tree a lot longer to seal over. I'm gonna go ahead and go in and just set up the camera, and you can watch me do it if you're into that, and hopefully not watch me cut a limb off, one of my limbs. And I'm gonna remove some of these lower branches. Then we'll get into actually removing the tree as a whole. Alright, so what we're going to do next is talk about actually removing this tree as a whole. Now, this tree is a maple that died a couple of years ago, and maples really aren't great here in Lubbock, America, and really it should have been removed as soon as it died. In my opinion, any tree that's dead is a tree that's waiting to fall down. It may be 6 months, it may be 2 years, it may be 10 years, but at some point, this tree is going to decay to the point where it will not stand anymore, and you don't want it to fall on something. Again, trees are heavy, they come down pretty quick, and you don't want any damage or any injuries from a falling tree. So we're going to remove it. The first thing you'll notice is that I have it tied off to this little tractor back here. It's not pulling very hard, but there is a little bit of tension on it, so it'll pull the tree slightly that way as it falls. Now this tree is leaning back towards this house just a little bit, so I don't want to just let it fall where it's going to go. I want to make sure and direct it. Now, if you're concerned about power lines, if you're concerned about structures, call a licensed arborist. But if you're in a place where you have room like I do here, and you want to take it down yourself, there's a couple things to do before you take the tree down. The first thing I'm going to do is come here about 6 feet up and cut a notch in the tree. So I'm going to cut down at about 70 degrees and then up at about 30 degrees. So that's about a 90 to 100 degree angle. And that's going to cause the tree, as it starts to lean and fall, to fill in that gap and fall out that way where it's not going to hit anything. After I've cut that notch, I'm going to come in from the back side and cut all the way through. If I see that it's starting to lean any direction that I don't want it to as I'm cutting through it, I'm going to stop and go back that tractor up a little bit and put a little more tension on the tree. So after I do that, I'm going to repeat the process down at the bottom. I may not tie that off because a 6-foot stump isn't going to go very far, and I can pretty easily direct it by hand. But I want to cut this tree into 2 sections, and then I will come back and make a couple of final points about this whole process. Okay, a couple of final points before we wrap this up. I've gone ahead and removed the stump, whatever was left, about a 4-foot stump, and I don't know how well you can tell on this picture, but this tree had already started to decay. The very center of the heartwood is fairly spongy. It has broken down quite a bit, and rot has already set in. Now this is maple, mind you, so it's very tough, very hard wood. I don't know when this tree would have fallen, but it would have fallen eventually. So there's the unhelpful dog again. I won't make you watch it, but I'm going to cut up this
debris here and haul it off and stack it, and maybe do a little bit of woodworking with some of it, because it's, I mean, pretty cool and it's good wood. But anyway, if you have questions about tree care, tree removal, or anything else, check us out at lubbock.agrilife.org, or you can call our office at 806-775-1740. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and I hope your holiday season is wonderful. And until next time, this is Vikram Baliga. Thanks, and have a great day.